Hello, welcome to History Chats this afternoon. I think everything seems to be working, so we're just going to jump in and talk about some, I'll let Gary take it from here. He can explain what he's doing.
Okay, thank you, Ben. Good afternoon, everyone. Well, today we're going to talk about a block in the city of, it's really more than a block in the city of Wausau. We're going to talk about the development of the university in this city. It's not an unusual story. It goes on for quite a few years through our history, but we now know it as UW at Wausau. It had a variety of other names throughout the year, and I think it's sort of a fascinating story. And as the history of this institution has changed through the years, I think it's good to record a little bit of that history today. In 15, 20 minutes, I don't get to tell the whole story, but at least I want to present to you this afternoon the ability to at least appreciate some of the early history that led to the establishment of what we now know as UW Stevens Point in Wausau. So we begin with the way it is on Stewart Avenue today. We begin with one block in the city of Wausau. If you're familiar with that sign, you see it on Stewart Avenue. Well, back in the day, there was the county had this block a little bit to the east of Marathon Park. There on Stewart Avenue, on Garfield, on 7th. If you were at the Marathon County Fair just recently, you would have seen the buildings that now comprise UW Stevens Point at Wausau. But back in the day, this was the beginning of higher education in Wausau with the Marathon County Normal School. And we'll talk a little bit about that, but I just wanted to bring in a map to show you where we are talking about. If you're not in Wausau or it's been a while, we'll get you orientated to the map and where we are today. But first of all, I just wanted to sort of highlight and give you a little bit of a sense of the timeline of what we're going to be talking about this afternoon. 1911, as part of the Wisconsin idea, the UW extension was formed as sort of an outgrowth of education from Madison, from UW-Madison. We felt the Wisconsin idea was to take the knowledge of the University of Wisconsin in Madison out to the rest of the state, and thus the formation of the UW Extension division of UW-Madison was formed. Then in 1933, the beginning as part of UW Extension was the classes. Credit was now starting to be given for classes, and we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll talk about some of these things, but just so that you can get a sense of some of the dates and some of the things that were important in our history, specifically highlighting 1958, the Wisconsin Ledger authorized local units of government to build facilities, which was very important. Because 2 years later, Marathon County builds the first freshman-sophomore facility, later at that time called North Hall, and then in '64, the University of Wisconsin established the UW Center system to be separated from UW Extension. So that's why the idea of UW Extension, the extension referring to that building, that was sort of a name that has, in a way, stuck with that institution. 1960, again, North Hall built, South Hall in '68. and then of course in 1968 the normal school being raised. But so let's sort of start the story. Again, we start with the normal school. This is the normal school was teacher training, agriculture, domestic science, a lot of classes being established here for a variety of different professions, really, built in the later part of the 1800s. This was, again, on Stewart Avenue. Today, the marker, the historical marker indicating this normal school, this first teacher training school in Wisconsin, 1899 to 1943. We'll talk a little bit about the difference in dates here in a few minutes, but this marker is still there, containing two of the posts of the original normal school. So that history is still on Stewart Avenue. As you drive by, you may miss that, but it is there, a little bit of an indication of our early history as a teacher training institute. But as part of I just want to emphasize again some of the things that were going on in Wausau by the University of Wisconsin Extension Division. For instance, this one, the lectures in Rockchild, an article advertising for a lecture in Rockchild last night from 1913. So already after the lectures, bringing the all of the academic professors from Madison to teach here in Marathon County. 1940, like I said before, in 1940, the classes to accept full-time students, the University of Wisconsin, in cooperation with the Wausau Vocational School, will continue for the school year, indicating what the full University of Wisconsin credit. So, like I said before, they are now, as part of the university extension in the vocational school, offering classes for the University of Wisconsin. And again, 1959, graduates of the University of Wisconsin Extension Centers throughout Wisconsin will receive formal certificates for their study at the center. So again, the continuation of the importance of the University of Wisconsin Extension coming into Wausau. I show this picture of the what some people may remember as Horace Mann. In the original days, it was Central School, but it was here, that article with regard to the vocational school. This is where the vocational school was housed in the early days. Some referred to it back then as Central School. Eventually it became, like I said, Horace Mann Junior High School. Of course, it has since been raised. But again, a lot of those early University of Wisconsin extension classes were being held here as part of the extension, as part of the vocational school being offered by Marathon County. Again, then after, as those became more popular, the university extension started to hold classes in the normal school building on Stewart Avenue. But then we quickly moved to the development of the campus as we know now. In the 50s, the University of Wisconsin and the Wisconsin State Legislature said, okay, counties now have the ability to build UW campuses, build their own. So the Marathon County, again, on normal school grounds, started to build this campus They built in 1960. They began with North Hall, and it's pretty much the facility that we know now. So the university was starting to take shape in 1960 with North Hall. Eventually, and this is a little bit, this was the full extent of North Hall when it was being built. Soon enough, though, throughout the 1960s, plans were being made to expand the university, building their plant here on Stewart Avenue. So this is 1969. It's just an article from the Wausau Herald indicating the construction of what we came to be called South Hall, adding on to what we now see as North Hall. And if you take a look in the top right of that picture is the old normal school. The old normal school was just about ready at this point in time to be raised. So this is the campus. This is what eventually came to be North and South Hall. On the lower part, you see the gym of the field house, and then off to the right is Marathon Hall, the dormitory. So this came to be the campus. And at this time, you see later in the 1960s, the additional buildings being built, and it was still being referred to as the Extension Center, but it was really started to be called the University of Marathon County Center. They're drifting away from the wording as an extension center. Again, taking another view close to Marathon Park. Again, narrowing in the dorm, the field house, and the campus between Garfield and Stewart Avenue on 7th Avenue. But what I came across this headline, and I don't have a date for it, but it just, I think, expresses a little bit of the great work that was being done at the UWMC, University of Wisconsin Marathon County Center throughout the years. The community, Marathon County, Wausau, really, it was really a great center of academic activity. At this time, this campus was a major feeder into students going to UW-Madison. Again, highly academic, a very strong campus, and a strong part of this community and county for a long time. But today, I just wanted to review a little bit of what it looks like. This is a fairly newer addition to the campus, to the south of the field house, part of the University of Wisconsin Stevens Point at Wausau. I'm just reviewing a little bit in case you're not familiar with the current scene here in Wausau. This is a picture of the field house on Garfield Avenue, looking southwest. The dorm, Marathon Hall, a great facility throughout many years, housing students coming here from all over Wisconsin for the 2 years experience at UW Marathon campus. This is the extension really of the North Hall, connecting it to South Hall. It's been remodeled, of course, as you can see through the years. So there's been a little bit of changes, but this is how 7th Street looks today. I might say that across the street is the new, fairly new, maybe I forget, the theater and other offices of the UW at Stevens Point. The theater is across the street from this facility. And this is another picture of the field house on the corner of Garfield and 7th Avenue. And this is this is what we would now see as North Hall. It's been remodeled, of course, through the years, but this is a current picture of North Hall, the north entrance to the University of Wisconsin at Stevens Point, Wausau. But also important, as throughout, this is just a very abbreviated history of the university that we have here in Wausau. But throughout our history, of course, it's always the people. It's always the people that are a big part of any institution. If you've heard me before, I always try to bring in some of the people that were important parts of our history, of the history of that institution. And one was Henry Arnsbrock, who came here in the late 40s to be a director of the UW Extension here. And so but he pretty much saw the development of the campus as it was going to happen, specifically the development of North Hall. He was a key player in the development of what we now know as this campus. He was also a great civic leader, one of the true education heroes, really, of Marathon County and the city of Wausau. A true person who brought a lot of his talent into the academic structure of Wausau and Marathon County. And in 1965, he left. He took other duties. But again, the Daily Herald at that time really remarked that the city's really going to miss him. He was a great person within the community, as well as certainly promoting the activities of the university that we came to know. A strong leader, a strong pioneer, really, of academic excellence in this community. And the other person, of course, the person that was a large part of my community here was Professor James Lawrence, a history professor at the university here. I think beginning in the 1960s, he was here for a very long time. There were a lot, and I use this as a springboard for the other great professors and instructors and who graced the halls of those buildings and continue to grace the halls of those buildings as we speak today. But I mentioned Jim Lawrence mostly for what he brought to the history of Marathon County, because when he was here as a history professor back in the as part of the celebration of the American bicentennial in 1976, Jim, as well as Howard Cleater, came to write the Woodlot and Ballot Box Marathon County in the 20th Century. So what this book did really was continue Louis Marchetti's History of Marathon County, written in 1913. So what Jim and Howard did was really continue that story throughout the rest of the 20th century, written in 1976. But again, a strong history of Wausau and Marathon County, the politics, the economy, all the significant things that were going on, Prohibition, the New Deal, a lot of the key events in the history of our city and our county are documented, and in this book, Woodlot and Ballot Box, a key source of our history continuing to this day. And then, of course, Jim wrote a lot of other books with regard to labor history that I think that was his really specialty. But he also wrote this biography of Gerald Boileau and the Progressive Farmer Labor Alliance, Politics of the New Deal. Gerald Boileau was a congressman from Marathon County that was really instrumental in the workings of the New Deal as Mr. Boileau went to Washington in the Congress. So again, I point to Jim, but as people who were really significant in the history of this campus throughout the years, over 100 years now, that campus provided a great academic resources for Marathon County, and it continues to, of course, with the University of Wisconsin Stevens Point at Wausau. So with that, I know it's just a short little peek at the history of this campus, the history of this block. But again, I just wanted to take an opportunity again to speak to that and to again acquaint people with the history that we have as part of the university on the west side, close to Marathon Park in Wausau. So with that, I'll turn it back to Ben.
Yeah, awesome. All right. There's my microphone. Yeah, awesome. So that's another little insight into our collective history here. If you're still watching, thanks for watching. I'll tell you about some stuff that's coming up. Next week, we're going to be joined by Eric Conop, our curator of the Yaki House. And he has been working... Oh, I just realized I grabbed the wrong image for this. Whoops, too many S's here. Anyway, we're building an online exhibit about the bridges in Marathon County called Crossing the Old Wisconsin, and we're going to be telling you about some of the stuff with regards to that. Also, let me just change this. Okay. I guess I can just do this so you can see. We have this weekend on Saturday, we have the Next History Speaks program, which is going to be presented by Dr. Henry Kanemoto, who is a local guy here, and he has a very personal story with the experience of the internment of Japanese Americans as part of the World War II. So it's an important and interesting story, and we are looking forward to him joining us and sharing that with us. So if you're interested in that, that'll be 2 p.m. on Saturday, this Saturday on August 12th, here at the Marathon County Historical Society. And I guess with that, again, thanks for watching. More stuff coming up, as always, in the future for more history, and hope you join us for that. And in the meantime, I hope you have a wonderful week, and we'll see you